Until recently, I had no idea what a pangolin was. But this thing is strong. It's a small mammal covered with scales made of keratin, just like our nails. Strong scales, man. The scales has no medicinal value, yet the demand for the scales and the meat is driving the pangolins to extinction. This one's name is Igai, and it was rescued from illegal bushmeat trade. It's going back into the wild where it belongs to keep the ant population in check. Home sweet home. Please say no to illegal bushmeat and report wildlife crime, because poaching steals from us all.
Badamasi Adegoke Adelabu was a prominent figure in Ibadan politics and Western region before Nigeria's independence. He was a key founder of the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons, a political party that held lofty the torch of liberty for the two West African countries. He carved a niche for himself as a wordsmith and a creative speaker. The nickname Kwenkele was a natively corrupted version of peculiar mess, his bombastic English language style often used to score proceedings at the parliament. The author of Africa in Ebullition, a handbook of freedom for Nigerian nationalists, was Nigeria's Federal Minister of Natural Resources and Social Services between 1955 and 1956. He died in an auto crash on the 25th March 1958 at
On the news tonight, Sowore vows to proceed with planned free Nnamdi Kanu protest despite federal high court order. Serap calls on Senate President Godswill Akpabio and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas to account for funds missing from National Assembly Commission Office Complex project. Federal government insists English language and mathematics remain compulsory subjects for all students registering for O-level examinations. On the foreign scene, Israel carries out airstrikes on southern Gaza as Israel's defense forces and Hamas accuse each other of breaching ceasefire. Good evening, this is News at 7 on Western Spring Television. My name is Opayamuni. Human rights activist Omoyele Sowore has vowed to proceed with the planned free Nnamdi Kanu protest despite the federal high court order restricting demonstrations around key government locations. In Abuja, the protest scheduled for tomorrow seeks the release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, who has been in custody since his 2021 extradition from Kenya and faces terrorism charges. In an ex-post, the African Action Congress presidential candidate for the 2023 elections stated that his legal team of 115 lawyers, which challenge any alleged court order once served, maintaining that the protest would hold as planned and would remain peaceful, lawful, and orderly. The Nigerian Police Force had earlier warned all protest groups to comply with a subsisting court order restraining gatherings near sensitive areas, including Aso Rock Villa, the National Assembly, Force Headquarters, Eagle Square, and Shehu Shagari Way. Inspector General of Police Kaode Egbetokun, in a statement, directed his men to be on high alert and ensure strict enforcement of a court order. He also ordered all relevant commands to maintain visible deployment across strategic locations in Abuja to prevent a breakdown of law and order. However, Mr. Sowore urged officers of the Nigerian Police Force to honor their oath to protect citizens and respect the constitutional right to peaceful assembly. He warned that any use of excessive force or unlawful arrest would attract repercussions, saying Nigerians would hold accountable anyone who attempts brutality. Kanu has been in the custody of the Department of State Services since June 2021. He is facing a 7-count charge of terrorism and treasonable felony, but despite several court rulings ordering his release, the federal government has yet to comply. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called on Senate President Godswill Akpabio and House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas to account for 18.6 billion naira allegedly missing from the National Assembly Commission Office Complex project. The call issued by SERAP Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare referenced findings in the 2022 annual report by the Auditor General of the Federation. SERAP urged the two presiding officers to disclose the name of the fictitious construction company that reportedly received the funds. The organization also requested the names of the company's directors, shareholders, and registered address. According to SERAP, the Auditor General's report revealed that the contract was awarded without following due process. The group said the National Assembly failed to conduct any needs assessment, publish advertisements, or obtain bidders' quotations before awarding the contract. The organization further demanded explanations for the inflation of the contract by 6.9 billion naira for the conversion of the roof garden to office space and for failing to secure approval for the upward review. In Edo State, the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria in the state has vowed to continue its industrial action despite the state government's position that the warning strike was ill-conceived. Public Relations Officer of the union, Ijuwe Endurance, urged members to comply fully with the union's directive, adding that anything short of total compliance would not be tolerated. The union, in a statement signed by its state chairman, Osage Ogbeide, and Secretary Barivuri Bako, had earlier said a 14-day ultimatum given to the state government had expired on Thursday. The duo directed members to proceed on a 7-day warning strike, noting that the government had not shown sufficient commitment to meeting their demands. However, Governor Monday Okpebolo frowned at the strike, alleging that it was being orchestrated by some union leaders for their selfish interest. A statement by the governor's chief press secretary, Freddie Tua, said the government had been engaged in negotiations on the issues raised and viewed the strike as ill-timed, unpatriotic, and unjustified. Here in Osun State, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the United States National Committee, US NATCOM, for UNICEF had hailed the success achieved by the Faji community in Odot local government area of the state in eliminating neglected tropical diseases and attaining open defecation-free status. This followed assessment visit of US NATCOM donors to communities implementing the NTD WASH integration program in Osun. UNICEF representative in Nigeria, Wafa Said, described Faji as a model of community-led public health achievement, noting that the community successfully interrupted the transmission of onchocerciasis and lymphatic filariasis through strong collaboration among residents, health workers, and local authorities. On his part, President and Chief Executive Officer of UNICEF USA, Michael Iyeus, said the visit allowed donors to witness the impact of their support and described the community's success stories as inspiring. General Manager of Rural Water and Environmental Sanitation Agency, RUWESA, Mrs. Ibidu Odelola, noted that every household in Faji community now has a toilet and hand-washing facility.
Okay, first is that I think a key message is that this community in Faji gives an example that neglected tropical diseases are preventable and are treatable. And that we say in Africa it takes a village. When the community comes with the leadership, with the health workers, with the partners work together, they are able to make a difference and to interrupt the transmission of these diseases. I think another message that we also is taken, and we heard it from the community, is that it's also very important to look at sustainability. And that's why for the community to invest in hygiene, having toilets, hand washing is something very, very important. This requires also contribution from the local authorities. We as UNICEF, we are committed to continue the support, and today also we had our colleagues from UNICEF, USA National Committee, who's also providing support. So that's a good example to show that we're making investment.
Yeah, it's been so exciting to be in these communities. You know, from the United States, we help support this work by engaging with donors who supply the medicines and also funding to make this work, some of this work possible. So it's great for me to be able to come here and actually see it and to see the success that each of these communities are having in combating neglected tropical diseases and engaging in WASH programs. So
I'm really very impressed, but I'm also not surprised because our team have been very, very effective, and the assessments we've done has been a pointer to the fact that we're on the right track. And so I'm so happy that this is evident, because this was not foreseen. We didn't know UNICEF was going to come. We were just doing our work as efficiently as we could, and today it's obvious that we have been diligent, that we're on the right track. I'm really very impressed, but I'm also not surprised because have been very, very effective, and the assessments we've done has been a pointer to the fact that we're on the right track. And so I'm so happy that this is evident, because this was not foreseen. We didn't know UNICEF was going to come. We were just doing our work as efficiently as we could, and today it's obvious that we have been diligent in our duties, and I'm very, very happy.
Thriving inside and out, strengthening physical and mental health. The 2025 International Adolescent Health Week theme, Thriving Inside and Out, Strengthening Physical and Mental Health, focuses on empowering young people to achieve holistic well-being in today's fast-changing world. This year's campaign highlights the vital connection between physical and mental health, emphasizing that true wellness extends beyond the absence of illness to include emotional resilience, self-awareness, and a supportive environment. To discuss this, we are joined by Mrs. Roslyn Akilabi, Adolescent Health Desk Officer, Osun State Primary Health Care Board. Thank you for joining us on Elite at 7.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, our viewers as well.
All right. As an adolescent desk officer, what is your primary role in promoting adolescent health in Osun State?
All right, thank you very much. Knowing fully well that adolescent age is a critical stage, because this is a stage where you have a girl or a boy transiting from being a child to an adulthood. So as an adolescent desk officer, who is a whole lot of responsibility to sensitize the parents, to see the needs of these adolescents, to even sensitize and create awareness and ginger even the adolescent also, so that their voice can be heard, so that they can also be part of the planning in any health-related matters that has to do with them. So it's a whole lot of responsibility, talking to policymakers, talking to stakeholders and CSO that works in the space of adolescents, to also look at programs that we can do to better the life of this one, and so that they can have a better future.
All right. How does your office collaborate with schools, communities, and health facilities to support adolescent well-being?
All right. I will start by even appreciating our stakeholders from other agencies, because adolescent health has now gone beyond an issue that one agency can handle, or even looking at their health is encompassing. So I'll give kudos to Osun Ministry of Education for their collaboration. I'm from Osun Primary Health Care Board. We'll work with the Ministry of Health as our mother body to also see to what we can do. So Ministry of Education has been helping in making it easier for us to access school, either private or government schools, because this is where majority of our adolescents are. So it's a kind of a multi-agency or multi-sectoral collaboration that we collaborate with Ministry of Women Affairs at times, collaborate with other CSO, because it's more than one agency can take care of.
All right. For everything that has its advantages, there may be likely disadvantages. What are some of the key challenges you encounter in implementing adolescent health programs?
All right. First of all, I would say one of our major challenge is resources. So, and when I talk about resources, I talk about human resource. I talk about other aspects in terms of material things, because you also bear me witness that for some of our institutions, whether at the health institutions or even in the school, we may not have a number of enough hands. For us at the health institution, we have to cater for people that comes to the clinic. But taking care of the adolescent, we still have to go out to go and meet them. Go and meet them, some of them that are out of school in the community, to meet them, some of them that are in school. So that tells you that we need more hands, because the few people at the facility, you cannot move them out. Some other people are still coming to facility too. So it's a major challenge. And then another challenge is the issue of having access to schools. But I still want to give kudos to Ministry of Education. They are helping in this area, but we still need more collaboration so that the school can be accessible for us, even to bring some of these health interventions and messages to them. And then also, like I talked about resources, there are a lot of programs that we need to make sure is available for them. Government has to have that political way, have that resources on ground for them. For example, we have been talking about menstrual hygiene to this our adolescent girls. They have to have facility in their school where they can change during their menstrual time, so that they will not, because of menstruation, run away from school. The school has to have what we call like a pad bank. Some of them were asking us questions in the course of the week when we were talking to them, that what do I do if my flu just come? I didn't prepare for it. It just come in schools. That means there must be something like you prepare for them. That's like an emergency. It happens to adults too. Women can also bear me witness. So at least that girl must have something to back on, a pad for her to just change, a toilet, a clean facility for her even to clean up. So a lot of resources have to be put. We have to be intentional about it. Government has to be intentional in budgeting for adolescent health. That's where I'm going. There must be an intentional heart about it, because this is a critical hit that every resources that we are putting to the childhood health may not even, we will not have a good result if we forget that range, that age, that transition, where they transit from being a child to adulthood.
All right, you said earlier that you do reach out to some of the out-of-school girls, and how is the acceptance rate like from those girls?
So that depends on, it depends on the community. Okay. Some communities are receptive, some it may not be that easy, or it may not, depending on how acceptable is the community. But what we have always been doing is to go through the gatekeepers in the community, people that even owns the place. We have our health promotion officer in all our HGAs. So they have been on ground, they know the terrain, they know the people. If you want to enter this community, you go through this and that. So you don't just go to them straight away, you go through the gatekeepers in the community.
All right, let's talk about mental health now. Mental health is part of this year's theme. What specific initiative have been carried out to support adolescents' mental well-being?
For now, basically, this is one of the things that we are doing, awareness. Parents need to be aware. There have been a lot of issues of news people will also, journalists will also bear me witness a lot of cases of adolescent teenager committing suicide in our society now. So enough of parents seeing them as, what is he thinking about? What is his problem? They have a whole lot of issues they are also going through. Some of them as simple as their physical makeup, the way they look, give them concern to the extent that they enter into depression. Some of them are being bullied. Some of them are being violated. Some of them are being threatened not to speak up. So they harbor a lot of things inside of them. So on the issue of mental health, what we have been able to do is to talk to them and talk to parents also. Talk to teachers. Give them a space. Give them a voice. Let them be able to voice out. Let them be able to, let's be mothering enough to let our girls talk to us about what they are going through. It eases them off of those mental tensions. Then another thing we have always been telling our adolescents is they need to rest. They must take enough time to sleep. Some will be on the internet, some will be on phone till midnight, and you still have to go to school the following morning. So they must give themselves, they must make sure they have enough rest and they are not into drugs. It's a major thing. If you are into drugs, you are as close as anything to mental health issues. So they should stay away from drugs.
All right, you talked about government being intentional about helping these adolescents. What kind of support, how would you rate the support your office has received so far from the government, NGOs, or international partners?
All right, so far, in fact, it's becoming better because we begin to see a lot of partners and CSO now looking at the side of the adolescents, because we begin to see that these young people, we need them. We need their voice. We need to really take care of them. So some of our partners have been doing well. Government on their home part have been doing great, because one thing about health is encompassing the set of the adolescents that we talk about. Also, they are also benefiting from everything that is available at some of our facilities. And for us in Osun, we give kudos to UNICEF. UNICEF have been helping a lot to make sure that we are exposed, even as the personnel that is going to drive the interventions are being equipped with a lot of trainings and with a lot of support and also outreaches. So you don't sit down and think they will come. You go out and meet them and also make our facility to be adolescent friendly. So a lot of our partners, WHO's, UNICEF, and a lot of them are really done. We advocate for more.
Oh, right. It is believed that so many programs starts and ends with research. How do you monitor and evaluate the impact of adolescent health interventions?
All right. Yeah, for every programming, for every program that is part of it that we call monitoring and evaluation. And we have is a major aspect in our health. It's a major unit where everything that we do in all our interventions, we have to evaluate. So we have different data tools that we use to capture every interventions that we give. For example, if you go for outreaches, how many girls were reached? How many boys were you able to speak to? So if I go for outreaches and I talk about HPV vaccine that prevents cervical cancer for girls, okay, after we have spoken to them, we provide that service. So how many girls were vaccinated? So by that, we'll be able to track how many interventions I've been able to give, how many people receive the services. Then we also report cases like gender-based violence among adolescents. So in our hospitals, per month, how many gender-based violence were reported that is at that bracket age of adolescents? How many of them receive treatment? How many of them? So like that, we'll be able to monitor and evaluate. And then some other partners go into research also, where they go to community, collect data, and do other
so far, what's your assessment on some of the recent intervention programs you've undertaken?
So my assessment so far means that we still need to do more. There are a lot for us to do in the space of adolescents. This week of that we commemorate International Adolescent Week, we have been to school. Adolescents were given opportunity to ask questions. And I can tell you a whole lot of sensitive questions that we couldn't finish, we couldn't exhaust. And not only that we couldn't attend to all those questions alone, they are sensitive questions that you cannot imagine that is coming out from this set of guys. And so it's a pointer to us that I see a lot of things that all of us together we need to, as a teachers, school counselors, parents, especially parents, there are a whole lot of things that we need to put in to ensure. And in the course of the week, we also, with the support of UNICEF, gathered our girls to even look at how creative they can be. Sing songs to promote HPV vaccine, fantastically using our girls, composing different songs and being creative. So it's been a wonderful time.
All right, looking at the future, what are your priorities or plans for improving adolescent health in the coming year?
Oh, in the coming year, we are looking forward for more support from all our implementing partners, donors, philanthropists, because we want to look beyond reaching out to our adolescents in schools. We want to reach out more also to those of them that are out of school. Some of them are out of school because they are pregnant. But that does not mean they are no more adolescents. They are still an adolescent. So we still need to pick them up, probably empower them, give back and go back to school, or learn is good, whereby we eventually reduce the issue of gender-based violence in our community. And also, we don't want to leave anyone out. The adolescents that live with disability, they need more attention. So we are looking forward for more support from our government, for our donors, to help us to reach out to them. All NGOs and CSO that work in the space of adolescents, it's a time that we really move out to meet them, those ones that live with disability, those ones that are out of school, not only those ones that are in school alone. So we are looking forward for more collaboration from every stakeholders. Yeah.
All right, we have been speaking with Mrs. Rosedina Kelabi, the Adolescent Health Desk Officer, Osun State Primary Health Care Board. Thank you very much for coming on the news.
Thank you, sir. It's nice being here.
Moving on, the University of Ilesha in Osun State has denied reports alleging that staff of the university have not been paid for several months. The institution described the report as a deliberate attempt to tarnish the image of the university and discredit the unwavering commitment of the Osun State government to educate and the human capital development. A statement by Senior Assistant Registrar, Corporate Service and Information Unit, Abatunde Fanopo, noted that the university has been consistent and prompt in the payment of salaries to all duly verified and regularized staff. He also disclosed that the state government, led by Governor Ademola Adeleke, has remained steadfast in its support for the university and its workforce. Mr. Fanopo revealed that, like every reputable organization, the University of Ilesha operates within established administrative and regulatory frameworks. He noted that the newly engaged staff must undergo due documentation, profiling, and biometric verification before being fully captured on the government's payroll, adding that it is when these processes are concluded that they will be included on the payroll. The federal government has clarified that English language and mathematics remain compulsory subjects for all students registering for the O-level examinations, despite the recent review of admission requirements into tertiary institutions. In a statement by the Federal Ministry of Education, the government said the new policy on streamlined education criteria does not exempt any candidate from registering or sitting for the two core subjects. According to the statement signed by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Buriowo Folashade, the clarification became necessary following misinterpretations of the new O-level admission framework. It explains that the reform was introduced to promote flexibility, inclusiveness, and fairness in the tertiary education admissions, ensuring that capable students are not denied access because of deficiencies in subjects unrelated to their chosen courses. It added that the new framework aligns with global best practices and corrects imbalances in the previous admission system by allowing institutions to admit candidates into certain programs where credit passes in either subjects are not compulsory, but all students must still register and sit for both. The ministry stressed that the adjustment only affects admission criteria for specific programs, not a requirement to study or take the subjects. In other news, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have intercepted consignments of illicit drugs concealed in frozen snails, electrical bulbs, and female clothes bound for the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to a statement by the agency's spokesperson, Femi Babafemi, the interceptions were made at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and a courier company in Lagos. Mr. Babafemi said 2 suspects have been arrested in connection with the seizures in Adamawa State. It said operatives intercepted a suspect, Bello Buba, at an NDLA checkpoint in Namtari with 38,270 pills of tramadol concealed in the spare tire, boot and door compartment of his Honda Civic. It said the suspect allegedly drove from the Benin Republic to smuggle the drugs into Nigeria. In Ekiti State, operatives destroyed 53,250 kilograms of cannabis on 21.3 hectares of farmland in Ilawe, Ekiti, and recovered an additional 1,140 kilograms, bagged in 70 bags. Three suspects, Matthew Emmanuel, James Moses, and Israel Samuel, were arrested during the operation. Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, Theatre Commander Joint Task Force, Northeast Operation Adin Gai, says the security situation in the region has improved significantly following sustained counter-terrorism operations and renewed synergy among security agencies. In an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria in Maiduguri, Abubakar said the armed forces of Nigeria maintained the operational initiative across the theater, denying terrorists the freedom of movement and access to logistics that once fueled their campaigns of terror. He said the lingering insecurity in Northeast was not an isolated phenomenon, but closely linked to broader regional and global developments, including instability in the Sahel, the Middle East, and the Russia-Ukraine war. Abubakar highlighted the coordinated operations aimed at achieving this strategic objective have continued to yield remarkable results. The set of troops neutralized more than 257 terrorists in coordinated ground and air offensives, while many others surrendered along with their families between July and September 2025, reacting to reports of renewed attacks in some border communities around Kirawa. Abubakar said the incidents were desperate attempts by the terrorists to create fear and attract attention.
The last 2 months alone, about 26 key terrorist leaders were neutralized and major recoveries of arms and ammunition made. Citizens have continued to return to their communities under the comprehensive resettlement framework of the Borno State government, and socio-economic activities have largely returned to hitherto abandoned communities. So while I may not go into details of the exact operations, the strategies that have been in place have turned the tide against the insurgents. For instance, the theater's logistics triangulation strategy has recorded several successes. In the same vein, several improvised explosive devices making factories have been identified and destroyed. You will recall that in July of this year, we recovered over 50 lethal improvised explosive devices under the bridge in Dikwa from the terrorists. Also, within the last 3 months, over 257 terrorists have been neutralized in coordinated ground and air offensives. The terrorist deployment of drones has also been curtailed by the deployment of anti-drone technology and better domination of the airspace, thanks to the support from the military high command. Recoveries of weapons have also been on the increase as troops sustain offensive operations. Collectively, these actions continue to shrink the battle space for the terrorists. Most of the recent attacks have been confined to the border communities, and they are in themselves an indication of the desperate attempts by the terrorists to regain attention. We have not had boots in Kirawa before now, as the security arrangement that was previously in place has been under the framework of the multinational Joint Task Force. However, we continue to improve our deployments to meet with the dynamic nature of the threat. Operation Hadinkai covers a total landmass of about 130,000 square kilometers, so it is virtually impossible to dominate everywhere. On the whole, the situation in Kerawa has significantly improved and boots are now on ground. Our dear citizens must continue to collaborate with the military in fishing out the bad elements. It is a whole of society approach in asymmetric warfare. Specifically, the denial of logistics and the passage of information by communities remain a key imperative for our joint success in this regard.
The Delta State Police Command says it has intercepted 400 ammunition at the bridge at Asaba, the Delta State capital. Police Public Relations Officer of the command, Bright Edafe, who disclosed these in a statement, noted that the command, under the leadership of the Commissioner of Police, Olufemi Abaniwanda, has continued to sustain its proactive operations against criminal elements across the state. Edafe said the investigation to unravel the source and criminal network behind the illegal arms movement was ongoing. He also said through intelligence-led policing, operatives of the command recorded significant breakthroughs in the fight against illicit drugs and illegal possession of ammunition. The command confirmed the arrest of a notorious drug baron known for distributing large quantities of hard drugs within Warri. In Lagos State, the State Traffic Management Authority officers have apprehended the driver of a Mercedes-Benz truck that killed a pedestrian after suffering a brake failure along Osborne Road, Ikoyi. LASMA spokesperson Adebayo Taufik disclosed this in a statement that the accident occurred along Simpson Street in Warri, Ikoyi by the Osborne Expressway traffic light junction. According to him, the truck was reportedly traveling at high speed when it developed a brake fault, causing the driver to lose control. He noted that in a frantic effort to avert a collision with vehicles ahead, the driver rammed into a pedestrian working by the roadside, instantly killing the victim. LASMA officers who were on duty nearby quickly secured the scene to prevent further accidents and ensure free traffic flow within the area. The driver was arrested and handed over to security operatives from the Dolphin Estate and the Ikoyi Police Divisions for further interrogation. Mr. Taufik added that the remains of the deceased were evacuated by police officers to a mortuary in Ebutemeta pending formal identification by family members. Still to come, Senator representing Delta North Senatorial District, Ned Nwoko, breaks silence following viral video involving his wife, Regina Daniel. We'll bring you more on this when we return.